27th of December, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
So if you would say that is where the extortioners extorted the robber's field, but did not extort all the other fields in the vicinity, thereby indicating the field was taken because it was in a robber's possession. But this cannot be the case, says Scroll. Marisha Shamiat Mega. For the robber's liability in this case can be learned from the Mishnah's first clause, which reads, Im Makas Amadina, etc. If it is a province-wide plague, etc. That the robber says to the owner of the field, the editor here, behold, what is yours is before you. This implies that if the confiscation is not widespread, but is directed solely at the robber, he is not exempt. And the Archroll goes on and says, thus the Mishnah's first clause tells us that where the robber is the target of confiscation, he is liable. It would appear then that the Mishnah's second clause is superfluous. Then it goes on that the Gemora answers.
Okay, so now okay, so this is what the Gemora is understanding. Fine. The Gemora understands very well what it means, Machmas Hagazlan. Machmas Hagazlan, the first thing that we would think to say is, well, it means that it's not Makas Medina. Makas Medina means that you have a mafia going around and extorting property from people. So the fact that this here Goslin stole the property before the mafia came along, so what? That's the case of the Reisha, and the robber is not liable in that case. But if just somebody came and there was another Goslin that stole it from Goslin number one, so then the Gemora says that can be learned out. That's the corollary of the Reisha. The Reisha says if it's Machmas Medina, if it's a story of the mafia, so then it's not liable. Okay, so that's self-understood already from the Reisha that if it's not a story of the mafia, so then they wouldn't have the din that it says in the Reisha that he doesn't have to give him anything. So that's obvious. So in that, the Gemora is going to have to give up. The Gemora's understanding that it must be that what it means, Machmas Agazlan, got to mean something else, not just the negative of what it says in the Reisha. We don't need a sefer to just tell us, and if not, not. That's basically the point, right? Every time you learn a Mishnah, and the Mishnah says if you have scenario Aleph, so then the din is like this. So you don't need a sefer of the Mishnah to say, and if you don't have a scenario of like it says in the Reisha, so then the din is not like that. Obviously, that's so. So now the Gemora is going to have to come up with some interpretation of these words in the Sefer to tell us a din, which is a chiddush that we would not know simply from the negative of the Reisha. So that's the lo tzricha. Lo tzricha. Okay, so we go on to with in the Gemara with Lu. We don't have a Rashi yet. The next Rashi is going on these words that Lu is going to read.
Lo tzricha. No, it is necessary. De achav yay. Referring to someone who showed another person's field. Alishna Acharina. Another version.
Okay, that's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
It'll be a whole nother version of the Gemara. So let's, before we do that, okay, that wasn't too much reading. Sorry. Now we're going to go to Rashi. Rashi's going to explain us what exactly is this Akabe Achuye all about. Who showed what to what?
Okay, the Achte, since he surely showed, because it's double language here. Shelo Gazla Hazeh. Shelo Gazla. So he's not the robber. That's fine. He's not the robber himself. Ella Shma, you learn from the king's house. So that he has that he requests to the thief sort of his fields the hare and karka. Take this land. Shall ploni of so and so. So he's being instructed to do it. He's being shown the field and said, take it.
Okay. Rashi's Okay. So he's showing it. He's showing the field. So what's this? What is this all about? Rashi says that this person, we'll call him person number one that we're talking about over here. Shelo Goslo Atzmo. He didn't even steal the field at all. He's not like the first scenario where you got robber number one. He actually stole the field from the guy. And we're saying, of course, what does that mean that he stole the field? How do you steal a field? The Gemara's not really getting into that at all. But it would, I guess he's keeping him off the field. He's denying him entrance to the field, something of that sort, because he can't, pull up the property and bring it to China. He can't do that. But he could deny the guy usage of his property. That perhaps is called stealing the property. But at any rate, so this in the Sefer here, we're saying this guy, he didn't even do that. That's what Rashi's saying. Shelo Goslo hu atzmo. He did not steal this field. So what then did he do? Says Rashi. Why are we saying that this guy is actually worse of a guy than the first guy? He's gonna have to replace the field. This guy. What did he do? So Rashi tells us how Rashi knows this. Maybe we'll see later on in the Gemara. If Rashi understands from the Gemara later on, or maybe he knows from somewhere else in the Gemara, or Rashi knows things that we don't know. But Rashi says that we're talking about a case. Sheshama mi beis hamelech. This guy over here, person number one, he happened to be he happened to hear from the from inside sources inside the palace of the king, meaning shemavakshim ligzo stadois, that what the kingdom would like right now is to be able to get their hands on some property, and it appears that they're not interested in paying for it. Rashi says ligzo sodos. That's what they want to do. They want to take over fields of innocent citizens. So what does this guy do? This guy is the one who is achave achuye. Says Rashi, v'hera lahem. He shows to them this field of Ploni, and he says, Tulu Karkazu shall Ploni. Why not take this field right here that belongs to Ploni? You'll be able to take it from him. It's not a field that's owned by the mafia. You don't want to start up with the mafia, of course. But this guy is he's a weak guy. He's not somebody who's gonna not gonna be you're not gonna have any trouble from him. So it's a nice field, and so here it is. And the king's messengers say, "Oh, thank you very much for your information." So in a situation like this, Rashi says this is what the Gemora is talking about. This is what the Mishnah means when it says imachmas hagazlan. If on account of the gazlan. If it's a case which is on account of the gazlan, so then this one is going to have to replace the field, even though he himself is not a gazlan. But if the reason that the owner doesn't have the field apparently is because of this, what Rashi's saying, because this guy showed it to the king, so then he's going to have to replace it. Okay. Oh, now, Lou, you want to read the Lishna Achrina?
Lishna Achrina, another version. Hacha b'mayaskinen. Here, with what are we dealing? Kagon, for example, de ansuha of day kochavim ba'amrei le acha guye ar ase. We're dealing with a case in which idolaters coerced the robber and told him to show them his lands. V'achave hahu b'hadaihu. And he showed them this stolen field along with his own lands.
He showed him this one from together with the other ones.
And they took all of it.
So they showed, so what did he do? He showed them the field of Ploni together with other fields that belong to who?
To him.
To him.
To the robber.
Amrele Achve Arase. Uh-huh. Okay, now when the goyim say, show us the fields, what are they asking for? Does it matter? Whose field do they show him to when they ask him to be shown? Amrele Achave Arase. Show us his field.
The footnote says the cases where the extortionists forced him to show them his own lands,
Yeah,
showed
okay.
them the stolen piece of property as well.
Okay. Okay, so Arase, his field is referring to him, the one that they're talking to.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I suppose it doesn't really make any difference, but would be even a bigger chiddush, I guess, because even though he's trying to save, maybe he has another property that it does belong to him that he didn't show to them. So instead of showing him that property, he showed him his neighbor's property on the other side. Said you could take that too. It doesn't belong to me either. I mean, it does. It belongs to me also.
Right.
So in that case, he's going to have to replace that field.
Right.
Now, of course, it goes without saying that. Yeah, okay. Okay, so how's this different than the other case? That the Gemorah's original answer. The other Gemorah's original answer is the guy was he wasn't. Nobody was forcing him to show the king the field of his friend, and nobody and he didn't show him any field that belonged to him. He just showed him the field of his friend. So even in that case, he's going to have to. Surely, in that case, he's going to have to replace it. And this Teked Amre would seem to be even a bigger chiddush, even if he's been forced by the goyim to, who knows what they're going to do to him. And he's losing his own fields also. But still, he's going to be responsible for the field of his friend as well. Wow. So I would think to say that's the chiddush of this Lishna Achrina. Even if he's being forced under duress, he's not volunteering any information. Even in that case, he's also going to be chayav to replace the field. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next case. Hahu Gavra. Hahu Gavra, Roy.
Hahu Gavra the Acharvar Avaria there was a certain man who showed the extortionists stores of wheat that were in the home of the exilar, and they confiscated them. Nachman. He came before Rav Nachman to be judged. Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman obliged him to pay. Yosef אחרי חי. Rav Yosef was sitting behind Rav Huna Bachia. Malay Rav Huna Bachia. Rav Nachman. Rav Huna Bachia said to Rav Nachman, Dina or cannot say, does this ruling emerge from the law of damages, or is it simply a fine? On Malay, Rav Nachman said to him, Masagi say me, it is derived from the Mishnah, for we have learned in the Mishnah, in Machameis, Agozela, Hayay, Lamid, La Sedeh. If the field was taken on account of a robber, the robber is obligated to provide the owner with another field. The Akime, and the Mishnah has been established as speaking of someone who showed the field of another to extortioners. So we see from this Mishnah that the normative law demands payment from one who shows his fellow property to extortioners, who shows his fellow's property to extortioners.
Okay, so he's saying that it's not simply a fine that Rav Nachman is imposing on based upon his own authority to impose fines upon people for improper behavior, but it's based upon a Mishnah. It's a din, and it's the din of our Mishnah. Machmas Gazlin Chayev Lahamid Lo Sadet. And V'Kimna, and we say that what's that case talking about? That case is talking about Achuye. Okay, so even where he didn't do any thievery himself, really, but he just caused somebody else to be a thief, that's good enough for him to be obligated to pay for the whole field himself. Okay. Okay, so fine. Okay, so now we go to Basad and Nofek.
Can't he get it back? The field? Why does he have to pay?
What's that?
Doesn't he have to give the field back? What's he done with it?
Oh, the robber.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need a Mishnah to tell us that a robber of a field is responsible. That's not the issue of the Mishnah. The issue of the Mishnah is what about this guy who showed the robber the field? That's the issue of the Mishnah. Is he responsible or not? The robber himself for robbing the field, of course he's responsible. That's not the subject of the Mishnah. Okay. Basid and Nafak. The last line of this Amud. Wow. We go to Lu to continue the reading.
Ah. Basar din Nafak. Amar le Rav Yosef le Rav Huna bar Chia. After Rav Nachman left, Rav Yosef said to Rav Huna bar Chia, "My nafka lach mine. What is the practical difference to you?" Okay, 116, 117, hooray for 116. E Adina E Kinasa. Whether Rav Nachman's ruling is based on the law of damages or whether it is merely a fine. Amar Le, Rav Huna bar Chia said to him, "E Dina Gamrinan Mina." If it is law, we can extrapolate from this ruling to other cases of causative damage. E kanasa lo gamrinan mine. If it is a fine, we cannot extrapolate this ruling to other cases.
Okay. So he asked him after Reb Nachman left. He says, "What did you ask him that question for? What difference does it make whether it's a fine, whether it's a din? What's the difference? That's you got to pay. So that's the bottom line. What's the difference to you?" So he explained to him. He says, "No, you're making a mistake over here. You don't get it. There's a very big nafkamina. There's a very big practical ramification in terms of psak halacha. Whether this, what Reb Nachman did over here, was bishum knas, it was based upon a knas, or it was based upon a din. Those are the dinim of Hilchos Nezikin. And what's the difference? Whether we're gonna learn out from that din and apply that din in other cases. If it's a din, then we can do that. But if it's simply not, we're not going to be able to do that. So now the question is, why would you not be able to apply the fact that he said a knas? Even if he would have said a knas, how come you can't learn out from a knas? If a guy does something like this, you give him a knas. And we could learn that out from what Reb Nachman did in this case. Just like Reb Nachman gave him a knas, so another dayan can learn out and say, "I'm going to give this guy a knas too, because he's in the same boat as that guy was. He did the same thing that he did. Why not? Why can't you learn out from a knas?" So we have to understand what really the difference is over here. So let's take a look. Do we have any time? Yeah, we got time. Let's take a look at the Rashis on the top of Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. Idina.
Idina is the law. Who shemasor l'shalem, the one who transfers over the money, who transfers the property, Yishalem should pay.
Who shemasor?
Okay, so
right. In other words, he gave over. This person who showed them the property, who showed the goyim the property, he's a moser. That's what a moser is. You show things to the authorities, and you give over to the authorities to have somebody take a loss. If that's a din that he's got to pay as for being a mosar, so then gamrinen.
Then come in, and then we do teach that. We learn that from that.
Hi, Maisa, the Reb Nachman.
Mahai Maisa, from this thing that we did, the Rav Nachman of Rav Nachman, Lishar to other Garmin Dinizikin, to other rulings, so to speak, in damages. So this ruling from Rav Nachman extends to other rulings. We do learn from it if it's a din. It's a din case.
I think Rashi is also saying what type of a din it is. It's dina de garmi, because this is not really a case where this guy he didn't actually rob anything. He didn't do anything himself. He caused somebody else to rob. He made it possible for somebody else to rob. So that's called dina de garmi. So there's a whole shaila in the Gemora whether this level of cause of damage is the person is responsible for. Like, for example, we know that a person who causes damage through grama, he causes damage through grama. The Bezdin down here is not capable of getting any money out of that guy, but the Bezdin Shomala, he's going to be chaya for gorim somebody else a monetary loss. That's grama. Garmi is a higher level of cause. Garmi is a higher level of cause than a mere grama, and it's a discussion in the Gemora whether we dan din garmi, whether we judge a case of garmi and we award damages based upon a din de garmi or not. So here we see that he was asking him. That's what he was asking. Are you saying that he's liable because you're donning din de garmi, or are you just saying this guy is a bad guy? I'm going to fine him. Okay. Because if you say the first side, so then you're saying, oh, we see the Rav Nachman, the prestigious judge Rav Nachman, the great sage, he dons din de garmi, so we could use that as a precedent to do so in other cases. That's the halacha. If that's what Rav Nachman says is the halacha, so then that's what we're going to do. But if we say no, that was not the basis of his ruling. The basis of his ruling was that this guy did something improper and he's going to pay for it, because Rav Nachman, as the dayan over here, he's got the authority to give him a knas. So that we can't infer to other cases. But my question is, why not? You see that's what Rav Nachman did in this case. Whether you call it a garmi din or whether you call it a knas, you see that he said you got to pay. So why can't we learn out? Now, Rashi is going to tell us the answer to this question. Iknasa. We got 3 minutes.
Iknasa, but if it's a fine low garmin, we don't learn. We don't learn that from Iknasa. So Iknasa, who the kansaya, the one that put a fine on, mishu, of course, regil haya, was common. It was in this low garmin. We don't learn out from it. So a fine we don't learn out from, but if it's a law, we learn out from.
Iknasa, who the kansay Rav Nachman? Who the kansay Rav Nachman? Mishum de rogil haya b'kach. Lo gamrin minai. Aha. So Rashi is giving an explanation of why it is that Rav Nachman did give him a fine. And Rashi says, who the Kansei Rab Nachman? He was the one, particularly this person, this individual, he was the one that Rab Nachman judged to be liable to get a fine. I mean, if that would have been what Reb Nachman said, Reb Nachman didn't say that. But if Reb Nachman would have said, yes, I did it because it was a fine, not because it was not because of a din. If Reb Nachman would have said that, we would Rashi is explaining we would not been able to learn out. Why not? Because Rashi is explaining because specifically this person, Reb Nachman, in his discretion, chose to fine. Why did he choose that guy particularly is the question. Rashi explains that. Mishum de rogil haya bekach. It sounds like Rashi saying because this person, it wasn't the first time that he did something like this. Rogil bekach. I don't know how regular he was in doing such things, but he was rogil bekach. It wasn't the first time that he did this thing. And therefore, we would not be able to extrapolate the fact that Rav Nachman made a fine on this individual and say if another individual does the same exact thing, that we would fine him as well. Because this was a situation where it was ragel bakach. So that would be the reason why we would not do the same thing in a case of a different person, if it wasn't ragel bakach. I think the ragel bakach means the person himself. My other possibility is it means it's a situation that seems to be happening nowadays. That this is what people are doing, these types of things. So we want to nip this in the bud. They don't do it anymore, and when we'll find the guy, he'll have to give him a new field if he does it. Okay, Yasher Koyach, everyone.
Take care. Be well.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, Phil. Bye, Roy. Bye, Lou.
Okay. Bye for now.
Fallon is okay?
I suppose so. I haven't heard from him.
Okay.